The Galar region won't have every Pokemon in it, and the Pokemon fan base has lost their minds. You got these fans, you got these fans, and you got...
It's funny because he looks like Thanos.
Let's talk about it. I've been around the block long enough to see some Pokemon fanbase meltdowns over the last couple of decades, but even I've got to admit that this Bring Back National Dex movement is crazy. For both defenders and haters of the new design philosophy, this is the angriest I've seen the Pokemon community in a hot minute. Even though I don't really like to do reaction or news style videos anymore, this is by far the most requested topic you guys have hounded me on in recent memory. So you know what? You got me. I'll throw my hat into the ring. Here's my full thoughts on Bring Back National Dex. As usual, my opinions on this sort of thing aren't exactly black and white, so we're gonna talk about my opinions on why I think the fans are right, why I think the fans are wrong, and why I think this whole situation is honestly hilarious. From National Dex to Dexit, here we go. May 28th, Pokemon Home is announced at the Pokemon 2019 press conference. This cloud service seems to be the new way for players to send their Pokemon from older generations to the next one, linking together Pokemon Bank, Pokemon Go, Let's Go, and of course the upcoming highly anticipated Sword and Shield games. Then, this bomb drops 2 weeks later at the E3 Nintendo Treehouse event.
So what that means for Pokemon Sword and Shield is that players will be able to transfer their Pokemon from Pokemon Home only if they appear in the Galar region Pokedex.
And in case there's any confusion on what this statement means, Junichi Masuda confirms in an interview the next day what everyone had feared. Pokemon Sword and Shield will not contain every Pokemon. Masuda has a lot of reasons to explain why they made this decision, but the main things he cites are the sheer number of Pokemon to model, the extra work in making higher quality animations on the Nintendo Switch system, and the game balance for battling. And here we are. Some Pokemon fans are chill with this, others are foaming at the mouth and swearing to never buy a game again, and no matter where you end on this very wide spectrum, it's definitely clear that this is one of the most polarizing design decisions we've ever seen from the franchise. Pokemon even released a press statement this week from Masuda in response to the overwhelming backlash. It didn't give any new information and just doubled down on the same existing policies, but it seemed to cut off even the chance of more Pokemon being added to the Galar region through updates. Now, on one hand, I can understand a lot of that initial knee-jerk reaction. Pokemon was built on the age-old tradition. Gotta catch 'em all. They've amassed over 800 unique elemental companions over the last 2 decades, and a common thing I think all Pokemon fans have bonded over is getting to see what your favorite creature looks like and acts like whenever a new generation drops. This is the end of a really long tradition. On the other hand, I wasn't necessarily mad when this news dropped. I was surprised for sure, especially because they just kind of sneak attacked it into the end of a gameplay demo. But my gut reaction when I first heard the news was just kind of a shrug. I guess I just figured this would happen eventually as Pokemon reaches closer and closer to breaking the 1,000 unique character barrier. Just like everybody, I've got my own personal favorite Pokemon, sure, but I'm the kind of person that spends most of my new Pokemon games playing with as many new Pokemon as I can. It's funny, I remember as a kid being mad when Ash Ketchum started traveling to new areas and leaving his old squads behind. But that's pretty much exactly the way I ended up playing Pokemon too. Sure, I'll be a little bummed if some of my favorites like Ditto, Hoppip, or $50 Bill don't make the cut, but there are still hundreds of other Pokemon that I could learn to love more too. Some people out there have a deep emotional connection to that one Breloom they've been transferring up from Ruby through every game since 2002, and he's my best pal, but I just don't have anything like that in my life. I've been trying to think about why my initial take was so different than most of my friends. My friends are mad. People are spreading the Bring Back National Dex and Dexit tags like wildfire almost everywhere I go online. Sometimes I even see droves in places that don't even have to do anything with Pokemon. Clearly there's a disconnect between the masses and myself. So what is it? One big reason is that I don't really battle with Pokemon very much outside of the main story. I've got a ton of friends here on YouTube who do fun battles, some of them battle in drafting leagues, and others compete hardcore at the Pokemon competitive VGC events. Battles and movesets are a big connection that trainers have to an individual Pokemon, and I guess I kinda miss out on that. When I was competitive with Pokémon, it came through the Pokémon trading card game. A game where the cards that you can legally play with shift every single year. I've had to put cards in the binder that I can no longer play with for most of my life, so I guess I'm just used to goodbyes at this point. My big activities in the main Pokémon games are largely single-player focused. Stuff like digging into the lore and shiny hunting. Things that are still gonna be around no matter which Pokémon are in which decks for a future game. But this whole movement runs a lot deeper than just the Pokédex. While there's a lot of people who are mad simply at the what of the situation, I think what really ignited this bonfire was the why. Pokémon fans are pissed off that Game Freak claims the reason they removed all these Pokémon was in order to deliver a higher quality product with better visuals and animations. Meanwhile, Pokémon has some of the most dated and reused visuals of the JRPG industry. I was just talking about this a couple weeks ago with my Features Pokémon is Missing video, but this is a complaint I resonate with a whole lot more. On a handheld system with a 400 by 240 pixel screen, I think I was more willing to look past Pokémon's dated look. But now that they're hopping over to a console in the HD era and have to compare themselves to other HD games, stuff like the T-posing Wingull is really starting to stick out. If there's anything gamers hate more than a decision they don't like, it's a decision they don't like that comes with excuses. These so-called better visuals start to feel like a cheap smokescreen that has fans even angrier than the original announcement. Another camp caught up in this movement are people that feel like Pokémon is rushing their development too much. Especially as more and more game development companies are being exposed for overworking their staff with tight release schedules and crunch time, many gaming fans have been calling for longer development cycles and more polished end products. And here's another area I'm totally on board with. We're currently in a stretch of the most consecutive years of the main series Pokémon title releasing, and I'm definitely feeling that yearly release Pokémon burnout. Pokémon has a great and addicting core formula, but when we keep getting similar titles year after year, the idea of a new Pokémon generation has begun to feel a little bit less special lately. The truth is that Pokémon has become less of a franchise and more of an empire. They are the most profitable media franchise in the world, and when they're able to pump out new releases every year, they're able to push more merch, trading cards, and shows. Even though the games only represent a fraction of the total money that the Pokémon franchise pulls in, each new game is a central cog to the Pokémon machine that keeps everything else selling. While other Nintendo Switch games have the luxury of delaying their releases in order to deliver the best product that they can, Pokémon and Game Freak don't have that same option. They've got billions of dollars worth of Gen 8 cards and merch already down the pipeline to be sold this holiday season. I'm not saying Sword and Shield is guaranteed to be a rushed game or even a bad game, but it's kinda crazy to think that they couldn't push this game back even if they wanted to. This whole thing has been a bit of a ticking time bomb. I feel like there's been slowly growing negativity around the main series Pokémon games over the last few years, especially with 2017 and 2018's releases both being remakes. A lot of people are feeling that burnout. Some are feeling like Pokémon isn't hitting the same highs as other great JRPG franchises in this era. And all that growing negativity, now combined with the new $60 price tag and a missing feature that people consider crucial, boom! I do think that some people are being a little childish with their responses though. I've seen some pretty toxic stuff out there, both from the diehard Game Freak defenders and Dexit haters. I'm not gonna highlight the worst of the worst, but I do think there's a fine line between respectfully sharing your opinion and going full-on 2-year-old temper tantrum. Wherever you stand on this issue, it's just a video game, guys. On the other side of that though, I've had a pretty dang good time just sitting back and enjoying the lighter side of the chaos to come from all this. The stock for Pokemon memes are at an all-time high right now, and I especially love that nonsense where people are photoshopping Pokemon as if they're disguising themselves to cross into the Galar border. I feel like a peak thing that I enjoy in fandoms is when people are able to laugh about the flaws inside of the things that they love. In a strange way, all this drama has somehow revealed a lighter side of the Pokemon community. Sometimes, all you can do is laugh. So yeah, those are my, scorching hot takes on the whole National Dex situation. Personally, I don't care that much about having all billion Pokemon in a single game. That's just how I feel about it. That said, I do think some of the underlying criticisms about the franchise getting stale or feeling rushed are absolutely something I'm feeling too. I don't have to catch them all, but I'm hoping that the main series Pokémon game finds a way to recapture my love for the franchise again someday.